apologize. I misspoke. We do have time for a few more questions.
Great.
So I've got one up here.
Sir, what do you see as the future of our staying in Afghanistan?
Afghanistan is a very dangerous place. It's a dangerous place historically, if you know its history. It's a dangerous place because it is the world center of heroin production. It's a dangerous place because the Taliban was able to actually establish a foothold there with our help and our weapons, by the way. The Mujahideen of Lahore, who were our bulwark against the communists and the Russians in Afghanistan, morphed into the Taliban using the same weapons that we left there to see to it that they were able to establish power. So Afghanistan is a very, very serious problem. I think President Obama knows it. He said it. He wants to dedicate more troops, not less. We have a multinational problem with Afghanistan because of their border with Pakistan, in an area where even the Pakistani government admits they are unable to establish control. And so while I would like to see and hope to see a resurgence of a world commitment to solving the problem in Afghanistan, and I think that we will. Heroin does not know borders. Heroin does not respect ideological lines. Heroin is a problem everywhere. And those countries that have a drug problem emanating from Afghanistan have every reason in the world to want to be a part of solving that problem. So when you say you characterize Afghanistan as some place we ought to ignore, I suggest that it is a place we should have paid more attention to than perhaps even Iraq. If you want to follow up with a question, I'll be more than happy to respond. Anyone else?
Yes. If it is found that there is a Pakistani link to the terrorism in India, is there an honest role that we can play, that we can and should play in that situation? And if there is a war, another war between them, what are the implications for terrorism?
Well, the implications are huge. The worst nightmare that I can imagine, short of a nuclear exchange with the former Soviet Union, is a nuclear Pakistan at war with a nuclear India. So we have a real and vested and concerted effort needs to be made to see to it that whatever caused that is excised with the least cost and disruption to the governments of both of those countries. I cannot imagine, quite frankly, that the government of Pakistan was responsible for that act. Having said that, I would not be surprised if the individuals who perpetrated it came out of Pakistan, were a cell within Pakistan of some fringe element that was able to and is able to exist in that country. But to say that because they came from Pakistan, all of Pakistan is responsible, I think is a mistake. I think Pakistan would be the first to say to India, join with us and help us solve this problem so that we never have to worry about the likelihood of things escalating to the point where they can't be turned back. So my hope is, number one, that whoever is found to ultimately be responsible has no connection to any of the governmental arms of the Pakistani government. And there is some question about their the equivalent of the CIA in Pakistan that sort of has a life of its own and is very difficult for the Pakistani government to bring under control. Musharraf couldn't do it, and he was a dictator. A democratically elected president is going to have a tougher time than he did. But we recognize, and I believe India recognizes, that there are rogue elements within the Pakistani government which the Pakistani government does not endorse, does not subscribe to and would certainly like to see, as much as India would like to see them, outside of the political or influential spectrum within the borders of Pakistan.
We've got another one down here.
Yes, sir.
When you look at the map of the world, we see problems, like you said, in Pakistan and Afghanistan and Korea and Iraq. It seems more than ever we need a partner to deal with, and to me that should be Russia. But we seem to be aggravating Russia by putting these so-called Star Wars type shield that's going to supposedly go into Poland, and it seems to duplicate. I mean, the lessons of history was, why did we have the Cuban Missile Crisis? Well, we had missiles in Turkey, sure. and we're repeating that all over again. I mean, I don't understand why we're doing that.
Well, the old expression, who do you mean we? I think that, frankly, Russia, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your point of view, has found itself in a position that it never expected to be in. And that is the price of oil would have dropped so precipitously that it threatens their very economy, and it does. So on that side of the aisle, there is a receptivity to a rapprochement with the United States because they understand that their logical partner is us, as we understood way back when there was a time when Bush and Putin were playing kissy face, huggy bear at the Western White House or whatever you called it. And we, at least I, had tremendous optimism that a whole new axis of good would be coming out of our relationship with Russia. Unfortunately, Bush did an oil deal with the Russians. Most people are unaware of this, but he did. That's why Putin liked him. Unfortunately, the deal that he did is better for us now than it was for them, and it's much better now for us than it was for them. So they have every reason to want to get together with us and come back to those halcyon days when everybody wanted to visit Russia and every Russian was somebody we wanted to get to know. I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to happen quickly. I think that this whole missiles in Poland nonsense is a smokescreen to threaten the Iranians, not to concern the Russians one way or the other. But having said that, knowing Bush's don't speak at all and carry a big stick philosophy, it makes sense to me that he would simply do it because he could. So rather than, I hate to use the word screwing the Russians because it's just a logical thing to say, but in any event, he is out of power. That deal is not going anywhere. What is going to take its place is a willingness on the part of the Russians to back off of this, we want to be the fulcrum between China and the United States, between Iran and the United States, between whoever and the United States, to show that we're still a tough guy on the block. They now realize that their best interest lies with being consistent with our best interests in that region. And I think we're going to see some very good things come out about as a result.